back to a new Looney Tunes video, and we are back with a new reviewing of my favorite The Looney Tunes episodes. And this is another one from the first season that I enjoy. And yeah, it starts with Daffy and Bugs playing chess, and yeah, Daffy is acting like he doesn't know how to actually play chess, because first he asks, do you have any fours? Or have any threes? Like they're playing Go Fish, even though they're playing chess. And then telling Bugs to turn around, which he eventually does, and he's like, earthquake, and just tips the table over. And yeah, Daffy's saying that he's having to go to his singing lessons, which apparently he goes there every Thursday night, and or every Thursday, and Daffy or Bugs has never seen him do the singing. And then he goes with Porky to the bowling alley and says, "Too bad," or they were saying, "Too bad Bugs couldn't go," and Daffy was like, "Yeah, too bad he's got his singing lessons." And yeah, we make it to the bowling alley, and yeah, Daffy saying hey to everybody, and giving everybody snacks. Porky, Pete, and Marvin, the Martian, is on the bowling. And yeah, Daffy said he took a 20 out of Porky's wallet. Of course he would. Of course he would. And they were saying of how they couldn't ask for a more generous team captain. And then we get to one of my absolute favorite parts in this episode. And it is the names. The names and what it spells. First, Porky is the Porkinator. First, it puts duh. And then, second, we have the Petinator. And it does duh. And then Marvin the Martian is the Marvinator. Duh. And then for Daffy, it's Pooh Bar the Grand. And it puts Pooh. So yeah, we have 3 does and then Pooh. And then it's like, Porky, I changed my mind. You're player 4. I don't know why I just found that so funny. And yeah, Daffy is saying if we're going to win the tournament this year, we're going to have to step up our game. And throws the ball and gets some pins. Pretty good score, I would say. And then we see this guy named Terry. Which, yeah, he's saying that this is their year. Which, now it's Piglet's. Porky's turn. Wrong franchise. Wrong parent. Yes, they're both pigs, but Porky they're not from the same franchise. But yeah, it's Porky's turn. Or Pooh. As, as Daffy says. You're up, Pooh. And it goes over to the pins, it tilts one of the pins, and then the ball goes all the way back to Porky. And he's like, good try, Pooh. And then, yeah, Bugs is there. And he's like, what are you doing here? I thought you had your singing lessons. And he's like, I graduated. The teacher said I had a voice of an angel. And then, yeah, keep covering their mouths and wondering what they're doing. And, yeah, the lies, it just keeps getting farther and farther as well, just covering each other's mouths. All trying to cover their mouths, and Pete is like, oh, somebody sing something. Oh, as Daffy says. And then we see Bugs bowling, and him getting a strike. And, yeah, them congratulating him, and Daffy is like, Bugs, to my office, now. And yeah, they go to the restroom. And, yeah, Daffy's saying of how people think that Bugs is smarter than him. More good-looking than him. And all this stuff. And he's really got a thing going on here with everybody. And we see this random guy just coming out of the bathroom. And, yeah, we just see everybody getting excited with Bugs. And he's like, fine. Just tell him I'm at some other thing. Like I'm busy. And saying, after he says it, they bought nachos. And he gives Porky his wallet. Like, poor Porky. Yeah, just taking money from Porky. And, yeah, we see this guy bowl. and get a strike, and it is a new member of Terry's team. And he's able to throw it even when turned around and even when he's not even looking. And yeah, just not even looking. And yeah, of course, Daffy is not doing so well with this. And yeah, he just literally scratches Porky's car with the keys. And he's like, we're going to be training and going to be starting at 7 o'clock, which is pretty early in the morning. And yeah, they're waiting the next day. And he's like, it's 11. And he's like, the training began at 7 a.m. The first exercise, patience. You two, talking to Pete and Marvin, good job. And Porky still got some catching up to do. And he says that the bowling alley doesn't open until noon. And they're having to wait even longer. Just sit there, doing nothing. And they're like, see you later. And he's like, see you guys in a half hour. And then he's like, and then later on, when they're going to be practicing and showing that the dictionary describes it as a ball used for bowling. And he's like, and that's why the dictionary is stupid. And saying that you have to become the bowling ball. And yeah, they use poor Porky as a bowling ball. And it's like, bowling balls don't talk. And yeah, they get a strike with Porky. And of course, he ends up in the hospital. And Daffy is trying to call Porky, and he's like, I can hear you. And Bugs is like, I can hear you down the hall. And then Daffy is like, no, I need you to do one thing. Get out of that bed. Remove your IV and your cast from your arms and legs and bowl. And he's like, why can't you ask Bugs to bowl? And they're like, Bugs is the best bowler here. And yeah, Daffy is like, I'm jealous at Bugs, but I hate Terry. Jealousy or hatred? It's like choosing between a child, and he's like, hatred. Simple, easy choice. And they're like, let's win one for Pooh. Again, I just find that funny. The Pooh. Like, I remember the first time when I saw that, I just died laughing so much. I was crying because I was just crying because of laughing so hard. I was not expecting that. And then Daffy comes back and takes Porky's wallet, and he's like, you're not going to need your wallet, you're in the hospital. And then we see the big tournament that is going to be happening, and yet we see the two golfers. I'm guessing they're golfers, right? These two characters, always forget, kind of like with Chip and Dale, I always forget which one is who. And yeah, and we see Granny and her team, we see Terry and his team, and we see Daffy and his team. And yeah, Daffy having like lazy eye, and Granny just taking her time, and they're like just taking her time. And then we get a montage of all of them just getting strikes, and we see the scores as well, and Granny just taking her time as well. And yeah, it's a pretty cool montage, I would say, of them just doing the game. And yeah, Bugs just being able to do it like blindfolded, Granny just taking her time. And yeah, it's pretty crazy, a pretty cool montage of them going. And yeah, they're doing very well. They're doing very well here. And they only need to knock down 2 pins. But then, of course, Daffy starts to feel bad when saying that they should call it Bugs' ducks. And yeah, Bugs pretends to slip and tells Daffy that he's got a bowl and to hit 2 pins. Which, yeah, he bowls and it goes into the gutter. And yeah, they lose. They lose. And yeah, of course, Terry and his team is celebrating. But they're actually saying that the pins were not actually set properly. So he gets another chance. And then, yeah, they're like, maybe we should let Bugs bowl this time. And saying that his foot is all better. And he's like, no, I have to do it for the team. But most importantly, for me. And yeah, he throws the ball, and it goes into the gutter again. It's like they just used the same clip. Literally. It's like they used the same clip because both times it goes into the gutter. And yeah, they of course lose, and Terry and his team win, and everybody leaves. Well, he's just standing there in that pose. Even Bugs coming up to him, and the lights just starting to go out. And yeah, Granny is finally throws the ball, or releases the ball and gets a strike. And then it ends with later on Daffy bowling, trying to do a bowl, and goes into the gutter again. And he's like, how is this happening? And then we see Porky actually out of the hospital. And yeah, Daffy uses Porky and gets a strike with poor Porky. But yeah, another good episode I enjoyed. I'd like to know what y'all think. Let me know in the comments below. Catch you next one.